lead the Heat. Jordan lays it in. No basket, and Jordan can't believe it. Foul on Jordan is third.
We're going to take a look at it. He throws it up. Well, we can't really see the foul because...
Maybe from another angle.
Oh, man, I don't know. All he did was throw his hands off of him and went back door.
Cycli. Little finger roll, and Ronnie Cycli getting some business done inside.
Yes, he is. You know, if I'm a fan, I'm upset because they took that play away because I wanted to see Michael dunk it as much as the fans did. But the referee took it away because he said he threw the man off of him.
Cycli over the back gets the foul. His third. See if that forces Lockery to make a change with just seconds remaining in the half. And Kevin, born in the Bronx, not in Brooklyn. He says the media guide is wrong. I want people to know I grew up 10 blocks from Yankee Stadium. I was a Brooklyn Dodger fan. That accounts for my toughness. I had to defend myself in that area.
Well, he's done a marvelous job with these young guys. And
Sixers, the Nets, Hawks, Bulls, Bullets. He had Dr. J, he had Dominique, he had Michael as youngsters. Boy. Williams has his first points.
He also said
Bernard King, I think he is.
Yes.
Askins to Cycli. Ronnie Cycli with 18 points, almost half the Miami total.
He's really playing. He's really hustling too. You know, when he talked to us yesterday, he was explaining that the ball gonna have to come more to him down low in the post, and with it coming down there to him, he's really delivering too.
Pippen with 4, Paxson with 2, Williams not there. Edwards rebounds, and that's the end of a first half where the Bulls again were on the rampage. The defending champions, 64-41, led by Scottie Pippen with 20. We'll be joining Bob Costas and Quinn Buckner right after this.
Bulls 64 and the Heat 41. Bob Costas back along with Quinn Buckner, and it becomes apparent that Miami, the best, quite possibly, of the 4 new expansion teams, still not up to the task of even making it competitive for very long against the Bulls. So what's at stake here for Chicago?
I think what's at stake is the Bulls, and Michael Jordan said at the top of the show, they're trying to show everybody that they want to be, quote, intimidators. They want everyone to come with a little bit on their heels to play them, and so they'll try to blow this open as wide as they can. They got Scottie Pippen off to a good half this time at 20 points, and I think that's important. But the intimidation, letting you know, when we come to play, guys, we mean business.
They're thinking about their place in history, too. They're favored to win a second consecutive title. Last year they go through the playoffs, as Dick Enberg pointed out, 15-2. Those 2 defeats, both at the buzzer for all intents and purposes. This year, they'd like to not just win it, but win it impressively. During the regular season, they were 10 games better with 67 wins than the next best team, Portland, with 57. That's the biggest margin between a first and second best team in more than 20 years.
Yeah, and having gone through that in Boston where you win one, that second one is harder to get. So to be able to do it and do it decisively puts them in as a permanent fixture in history. And I don't think there's any question that's what they want to try to establish this year.
Okay, coming up next, we'll bring you our conversation with Knicks coach Pat Riley. That's after this message from Prudential and a word from the NBA. Second game of our doubleheader today is Game 2 between the Knicks and the Pistons. Knicks fans approached Friday's opener against Detroit with a combination of anticipation and dread. A season which, in the overview, exceeded expectations, was ending with an embarrassing fizzle. His usually calm exterior aside, Pat Riley cares about his coaching challenges too much to be personally unaffected by its ups and downs. Game 1 against Detroit was a peak. For one night at least, the Knicks replaced question marks with exclamation points, winning by 34. The next day, the coach dropped by his old home base of a year ago, NBC. Here's how it went. Friday as good as your team can play?
We played very, very well in spots, and there were a lot of breakdowns during the course of that game. I think the game was an aberration. I don't think there's any doubt. Once we got a roll going, we had, 4 3-point plays consecutively that cracked the game open for us, and then it just went the other way. I don't think you're going to see that again in this series.
You've got a really interesting situation in that here's a team that wins better than 50 games, ties for the Atlantic title, is one up in a playoff series against a well-regarded veteran team, and yet people are looking for something of a shakeup in the offseason. How difficult is it to deal with the players who are the focus of that kind of speculation? Guys who have to make a key contribution now but might not be here next opening day.
That's the ultimate contradiction of this whole game. And I think therein lies the secret to any team's success, is the players' voluntary cooperation, regardless of what their personal dilemma may be contractually or loyalty or whatever it is. If you're an athlete and you're part of a basketball team or any organization, and you have to remove yourself and you have to remove all those personal things that will get in the way, and if trust and loyalty is part of winning and you want to win, then you'll do whatever it takes to win. And if there's the fear that, well, they're not giving me my due or paying me my money or signing me to a contract and I'm an unrestricted free agent, why should I buy all this stuff? Then you're really not a professional. And I think that's one thing that our guys have been this year. I mean, Xavier McDaniel, Gerald Wilkins, Kiki Vandeweghe, James Donaldson, they're all unrestricted free agents, but every one of them have been very professional when it came to that. They all want to win. They all care about winning. And I hope that this summer things can be worked out for them.
You told me once that during your tenure with the Lakers, the biggest coaching mistake you made was in the '84 finals against the Celtics. There was a specific game situation where a timeout was called that shouldn't have been called. What's the biggest mistake, either tactically or psychologically, that you made this year? With all the success, what's the biggest mistake?
Man, I will open up myself to huge. I don't need it across the New York Post, but there have been a lot of times this year that I feel like I could have made better decisions. I have been indecisive at times in staying with a certain group of guys, and we have built an 8.5-man rotation, and I think over the course of the season, I felt that whatever combination was playing well in the fourth quarter, then that's who I was going to finish the game with, and I think there have been some times that I may have made a mistake there.
How fast were the butterflies fluttering around in your stomach before Friday night's game?
That's great. I love this time of year. I mean, I woke up this morning at 5 o'clock, eyes just open up, and there's no more time to sleep, and you have this hole in your gut, and it feels empty, but you feel sort of ready.
People might wonder, if you talk about the misery of it, as we said before, or not being able to sleep in the middle of the season when the team was in a tough stretch, they can understand being driven by it, almost having to do it. But they wonder, can you really enjoy doing it if those are the circumstances?
I've always said that if you want to have fun in the NBA, then go play at the YMCA, because it's not fun. The only kind of fun you should have should come from the team developing as a winner and people sharing in that chemistry. And it's a very private type of self-satisfaction. It isn't something that should be, totally enjoyed all the time. The only time I feel like you should enjoy it is at the end of the season when you have done something, special. And there are all different levels of what special is. It could be an Atlantic Division title. It could be second round of the playoffs. It could be a world championship. I think there's a level of total satisfaction somewhere during the season. But this is not totally a fun job because of the demands it puts on you.
They were obviously extraordinarily well prepared, and getting that stretch of 4 days or so in South Carolina to kind of cleanse themselves, purge whatever had happened during the latter stage of the season was helpful.
I thought it was just critical. As I watched the game that they played on Friday, you could see this team was well prepared. They were focused. Everybody was in sync, and I think Pat Riley, who, despite what people may think, is a very meticulous coach, took the time to get these guys back focused. And it is so important at playoff time that you're all together, and you could see that in that game.
Here's something very interesting. Not a criticism of Chuck Daly, because there's no way to anticipate how this would turn out. But at the time that the Pistons unveiled that strategy against the Knicks and beat them twice in a week and shut down Patrick Ewing, held them to around 30% shooting combined in the 2 games, they weren't in the Knicks bracket. They thought they were going to play the Celtics in the first round, and then if they won, they'd go on to play Chicago. So they didn't realize they were showing Riley in less important games what they'd have to do against them in the playoffs. Now Riley has a week to prepare for just that, and they win the first game.
And I'll tell you what they did. They